What in the Stranger Things is happening here? Alright everyone, welcome back. Today we're diving deep into episode 7 of It, Welcome to Derry. Yep, the penultimate episode called The Black Spot. And wow, this one hits hard. We finally get why the clown guise of Pennywise the Dancing Clown exists, who he was before the evil got to him, and the heartbreaking fallout for his daughter. So it starts way back in 1908. We meet the real clown, a man named Bob Gray. He isn't the monstrous Pennywise yet. He's just a sad clown working at a carnival. He performs, kids love his act, he makes them laugh and sometimes cry. It really pulls on your heartstrings. You can already sense Bob Gray wasn't some evil monster. We also meet his daughter, a little girl named Ingrid Kirsch. She's practicing clown makeup backstage, and Bob lovingly gives her a stage name, Periwinkle the Clown, which used to be her mother's stage name. So right away, you know the clown act has deep family roots. There is a touching moment, father and daughter performing together, the Pennywise and Periwinkle show. Bob promises Ingrid that one day, the big tent will come a-calling again, that they'll have a better carnival. You feel how much he cares about giving her a life. Then, horror. Later that night, a strange child who's actually the evil entity we know as It watches him, entices him into the woods under false pretenses. The children are drawn to you, the child says, which is the primary reason why he's targeted in the first place. And then he gets dragged away. That's it for Bob Gray. No escape. Backstage, only his bloody handkerchief remains. Ingrid is told he vanished, likely eaten by wolves. But of course, that was a lie. Cue the reveal. The entity has taken Bob's face and voice. From that moment on, the monster would use Pennywise the Clown that children loved, as its signature shape to lure in victims. That's why the clown form is so perfect. Bob's warmth and ability to charm kids, twisted by its hunger and evil. This is huge because for decades, fans debated whether Bob Gray was real or just another Pennywise costume. Episode 7 settles that. Bob Gray was real. He lived, had a daughter, loved children, tried to make people laugh, and it simply hijacked that identity. Little Ingrid becomes Periwinkle, her mom's stage name. This adds another layer. She grew up seeing clowns as family. The clown aesthetic, the ruffles, the makeup, it was normal to her. So when it re-emerged later as Pennywise, using her father's face, she was drawn to him in a way a normal person never would be. Speaking of Ingrid's mom, Bob Gray, Pennywise the Clown skit, where she dances with the dress and sits by a grave, is a memorial to Ingrid's mom, showing that Bob Gray may have been the most loving, nice, caring father at Derry. Also, another subtlety in the storyline are the kids. You may have caught this, but kids rushed the stage as Bob was performing. This scene brings us an understanding of Bob Gray's pain, and It took that as motivation to hunt down every child. But what we witness with Ingrid explains why even decades later, she still looks at that clown with love. It was her dad. Let's skip to 1962. The show depicts the horrifying burning of the Black Spot, a black-friendly military bar. A racist mob storms in, demanding one man's surrender, then unleashes fire and bullets when their demands are ignored. This act of racial hate becomes the catalyst for the evil to show itself. Horror, racism, and supernatural evil collide. And that's where Ingrid re-enters, now dressed in her old clown costume, Periwinkle, playing a twisted part in Pennywise's return. Periwinkle called the fugitive in. She knew this massacre, the blood, the hate, the fear, will bring Pennywise, who she thought was his father, the same way she lured Mabel into the basement back in 1935 in Juniper Hill Asylum, where she saw Pennywise for the very first time. And that was where Pennywise learned that she must mimic Bob Gray to get close to Ingrid. During the massacre, Pennywise emerges from the carnage, feeding on innocent victims, thriving off terror and death. Ingrid arrives on the scene as Periwinkle. At first, she seems complicit, but then the horrifying moment. Pennywise kills her husband, or lover, whichever version you prefer, in front of her. It's gut-wrenching. Pennywise doesn't just kill him, he tears him apart with the same brutality we've seen him use on children, maybe even worse. The irony there is wild. His violence is indiscriminate, but his cruelty towards this guy feels almost personal. Pennywise literally feeds on fear, but even he looks at racism and goes, "That's too evil." And that's saying something about our timeline, especially when some folks think we should make things a certain way again. But the show isn't saying Pennywise is righteous, far from it, but it is drawing a line between cosmic horror and human hatred, and basically telling us racism is so monstrous that even Pennywise looks tame by comparison. Ingrid still doesn't get it though. Periwinkle hugs Pennywise, a scene that parallels Ingrid hugging her father Bob Gray. But when Pennywise says he's leaving, the thought of being abandoned is what finally makes her see the truth. That's when Ingrid realizes this isn't her dad. This is a monster wearing his face. She confronts him, but Pennywise doesn't care about reconciliation. He hits her with the infamous deadlights, that horrifying supernatural ability, and leaves her catatonic. Periwinkle is stretched away the next day, but it seems like she may have fallen victim to the same trap as Bob Gray. Pennywise might now be mimicking her the same way as Bob Gray. But let's be real, the showdown between Ingrid, Periwinkle, and Pennywise was epic. On one side, a daughter desperate to reclaim what was lost, grieving, confused, enraged. On the other, a timeless monster, taunting grief, trading memories for fear. The emotional weight hits hard. Episode 7 works on so many levels. Horror, yes, but grief, memory, identity, abuse of innocence, generational trauma, all of that hit even more. The 1908 flashback gives us context. Pennywise isn't just some random demon clown. The form was borrowed, stolen from a human clown who loved children and wanted to care for his daughter. Ingrid, or Periwinkle's arc, shows how trauma and denial can warp a life, how grief can become complicity, how love becomes obsession. The Black Spot Massacre ties real-world historical racism into the supernatural horror. The evils in the show aren't just cosmic, but human. And the showdown between Ingrid and Pennywise becomes more tragic because it's not just hero versus monster. It's a daughter versus the twisted ghost of her father's face. If you ask me, this is probably the most emotional episode of the whole series so far. It acts as a finale, but it's only the penultimate episode, which is insane. And it was ready to sleep for the next 27 years. That is, of course, before the military decided to poke the bear. That shot of Pennywise surrounded by all those bodies as it goes into hibernation is one of the best I've seen, and it definitely deserves some kind of an award because it was just so cool. Alright, that's my breakdown of episode 7 of It. Welcome to Derry. If you thought you knew Pennywise, this episode might make you rethink everything. Who he was, who he pretended to be, who suffered because of him, all of that. But what do you think? Drop a comment, let me know. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to smash the like button, subscribe to join our community, and press the bell to be notified when I upload on the channel. That's it for this video. See you next time for another super video.